Hello and welcome. I'm just going to adjust my camera a little bit for you guys. Let's see. There we go. Try and get away from my yellow eye. For those of you who are new to me, I'm in my she shed office. This is definitely not much of a shed anymore. And I'm sorry, something happened to my tripod. It is just all kind of messed up today. So welcome and thank you for joining me. I'm so glad to be able to bring this to you guys. For those of you who are new to me, I'll just tell you a little bit about why I do this. I love the ECE world. I am myself just very, very passionate about early childhood education. I'm an owner of a childcare center myself. I've owned a total of 4 programs throughout my career, and I have done every job in a childcare center. I started as just an assistant teacher. I've been the cook, I've driven vans, I've done it all. I've been a director, an assistant director, an infant toddler director. So started in this field when I was very young, and I have a huge passion for early childhood education. So as an owner who was once struggling, and as a director also who was once struggling and just couldn't figure out, like, how am I going to make my center successful, I set out on a journey, and I really wanted to figure out, how am I going to make this work? This is a very, very tough industry, and a lot of us struggle. So many owners and directors just really struggle just to make ends meet. I know what it feels like to be an owner that is just terrified to write a payroll check. I've been there. I know how you feel. So I bring these free sessions to you guys just to help. And my podcast is the same thing. If you haven't listened to my podcast, I have the Childcare Business Coach podcast. My mission and my goal right now is to help other owners and directors just find that relief from having a struggling childcare center. So during that journey I was telling you guys about, I learned how to become a business owner. So many of us in this field, we are moms, we're teachers, we are not business people, and we suddenly become directors, we become owners, but we don't know how to run a business. And childcare is a business, just like everything else. So now that's what I do. I am the founder and owner of Childcare Business Professionals, which is a company that helps people learn how to run childcare centers successfully while having high research-based standards. So my number one goal is always to make sure the children come first. And by the way, my name is Evelyn Knight. The children having quality is the number one thing. And I was once an owner who didn't think that was possible. I didn't think I could afford to have quality. I thought you either had to choose between quality and turning a profit and being able to pay your bills. I didn't realize that you can have both. So now I'm here to help you guys learn how to achieve that. And today, this is day 1 of the proven preschool enrollment formula. If you're watching the replay, give me a hashtag replay. If you're here, say hello. It gets lonely on this side of the camera, so I really do like the interaction. I see Angelique and Rose have joined us. Hi guys. Let me know that you're here, and be sure to ask questions. The more you interact, the more you will get out of this program. Interaction really is key to make sure that you really get more out of this. Go ahead and send me questions throughout the week. I basically clear my schedule off when I do these presentations for you guys. Whenever I do a free workshop, I clear my schedule just to be available. So I am available to you this week, so make sure that you send me some questions. Interact. The more you interact, the better you will do and the more success you will find. So show up every day. If you can make it live, that's great. And what I have to say, I know so many of us are so busy, but it's only an hour a day. If you could take an hour a day for 1 week and you knew it could change the course of your childcare center, would that be worth giving up? So clear your calendar. Be here live every day. It really is helpful. If you absolutely cannot be here live, make sure to take that time every day to catch up. All of the videos I'm doing today will be down by next Tuesday. I do normally sell this course, and since it is something I normally sell and I'm giving it away for free right now, I do take it down after a week. I basically give it away for about a week, and that's it. So I do give you time to catch up and watch the replays. but make sure that you take that time. You owe it to yourself. If your center is running you and you feel like it is just taken over your life, make sure you take that time. You deserve it, right? We all went into business, whether you're an owner or a director, you took the job because you wanted to make a difference and you wanted to gain some kind of control over your life. But I'm sure over time, it might feel like your centers have taken control over you, right? I'm sure many of you can resonate. I know I was there once upon a time. So I'm here to help you take your life back. That is one of my biggest goals, is to help you take your life back. So I think Kimberly is joining us now too. Hello, Kimberly. So just stay tuned every day. Take that time, you guys. I cannot tell you how important it is to give yourself that time so that you can start taking your life back. And I've got lots of other recordings I've done for you. Be sure to listen to them. So I'm looking at my notes. I'm sorry, guys. I got to make sure I get everything. So I haven't done this workshop in a while. I usually do every 6 to 8 weeks. I do a free workshop. Lately, it's been rough for me this year, as this is my first one. For those of you who are new to me, I do have a husband with a terminal illness, so this year has been a little bit harder, and I am running behind, but I have getting back on the horse, trying to get back in the schedule. One of my main goals is to serve the ECE community. I have such a passion for ECE. I just want to be of service to you guys. So I just really want to just bring more back to you guys. Hi, Kimberly, you made it. Yay. I keep seeing your messages flash, but I couldn't get to them since I'm on live, but I was like, oh, I'll just send her the link when I'm done recording. So make sure to put this in your calendar. Make sure to do everything you can to be here live, participate, send me questions, and also let me know if you guys still need the workbook. If you still need the workbook, I have it on my laptop, but this is what it looks like. I can send it to you guys. It's the Proven Preschool Enrollment Formula Workbook. Basically, what I've done is I've just created a short workbook that you guys can use to go along and take notes in an organized fashion. That way, the things that you need to know and learn throughout this program, that way you have it in an organized notebook. I basically put the most important parts in here for you guys in my workbook. So if you don't have it yet, send me a message. You can send it to the Childcare Business Coach if you want, or you can send it to Evelyn Knight, my personal or my business, whichever you guys prefer, and I would be happy to send each of you the notebook or the workbook. I'm sorry, I keep calling it a notebook. And I know your time is valuable, so I am going to get right to it. I don't want to waste any more of your time with my introductions, and so let me get right to the teaching. So this week, we are going to focus on the pillars that I have used to create enrollment in my childcare center. And so years ago, I really struggled, and I felt like my center had a revolving door, and I couldn't figure out why. It's like I would enroll a child, but then another child would leave. And it was just this constant enroll, drop, right? And then there were seasons that I really struggled with enrolling children. I just couldn't get anyone through the door. I couldn't get them to sign up. So I thought I had to lower my prices. I thought there just weren't enough children out there. I thought it was the economy, that maybe it was just because parents weren't making enough money. I mean, I just racked my brain with what is going on. So that's when I set up on my journey to learn business and really learn how am I going to get my enrollment up. And not only that, but once we get the enrollment up, you guys, that's only step one. Now we have to keep it there, right? It's one thing to enroll children, but if you have as many leaving as you have coming in, then we have a problem, right? And there is a problem within your center. I can guarantee it. If you have that issue, you need to make changes. So I'm going this week. It is really hard to get this in. I have about 5 hours to get this in for you guys, with an hour every day, Monday through Friday, but I'm going to get to it as much as I can. My coaching program actually coaches people through this for a year, but I'm going to give you as much as I can in this week. So the 4 pillars that I've basically used in order to keep and I'm sorry, I'm looking, there's 4, but I kind of last night when I was going through my notes, I added a 5th one. So in your workbooks, you're just gonna have to kind of pencil in the 5th one. I was looking at it like, I'm really missing one here, really important component. So I'm going to give you my new 5 pillars instead of 4. So if you've taken this before, this free workshop, I have added a pillar to this. So know your business. What makes you unique? What is your superpower? That is one of the most important things that you need to know. Do you know your values? Do you know what makes you different than the center down the street? I know a lot of you may think that we are flooded with competition, but I can tell you guys, if you can make yourself a category of one, you want to be that unique center that everybody talks about, you don't have to worry about competition. Don't have to worry about it. But you need to know what is your center's superpower, right? At my center, we call it our queen bee role. And at my childcare center, and I'm just going to briefly go over this because I'm going to teach on this every day, but at my center, it's our queen bee role. And we always know that we have to protect our queen. And that is what makes us different, what sets us apart. Okay, so that's pillar number 1. And that's what we're going to talk about later today. Pillar number 2 is your online presence. And I changed the wording on this one a little bit, but basically what I want you guys to think of is that first impression. That is the pillar number 2, is your first impression. What kind of first impression are you giving off? If it's online, if it's on the phone, what is the first impression? Especially during COVID, this is always true, but especially during COVID, you really, really have to think of when we can't tour people, when people really aren't going out, how are they seeing you first? Where is the first place they're seeing you? And just a quick tidbit on that, when you're searching for a new restaurant and you're traveling, what do? We pull out our phones, right? And we Google it, or we go to Safari, or we, hey Siri, whatever, we find it online, right? So I want you to really think about, how are your parents finding you? And we'll talk a lot more about that. And I'll give you guys tips and tricks to make sure you're found, and that when you're found in a way that you want parents to see you. Next is going to be the professional persona of your center. What kind of persona is your center putting out into the world? And not only that, but when people enter your building, what is your professional persona? How does your center look, right? So now we've basically, you know your business, you've set it up, you've gotten that first impression. Now you're getting people into your door, right? So once you get into the door, what is your professional persona? And have you been intentionally establishing this? I can guarantee you guys have a professional persona, and which is a brand. You have a brand, you have a culture. Your center absolutely has a culture. If you are not controlling it and you have not intentionally set it up, it may be something you don't like and you don't want to see. So we'll talk about, and that will be on Wednesday, about how do you intentionally set up this culture or your professional persona so that you have control over it, and that you don't have to worry about having a reputation or a culture of like gossip or negativity in your center. And then my next pillar is always be tour ready. Always. It needs to become not just a show, but it needs to become who you are, right? Who your center is. Always be ready and putting that professional face forward. And I'm going to go into detail. The tour is so very important. I'm dedicating an entire day to the tour. And what do I give my parents? How do we conduct our tour? What does the center look like? How is my staff trained to tour? Okay, so that's going to be day 4, which is Thursday. And the 5th one that I just added is follow-up and retention. After the tour, after everything, how do you follow up with families? And let's say somebody didn't sign up, how are you going to keep them in your radar? And also, how do you retain the families if they do sign up, right? Once they're in your doors, how are you going to retain them? If they didn't choose you, how do you keep in the back of their head and sign up? So those are our pillars. And again, if you don't have the workbook, let me know. I have the pillars listed in the workbook. You can take notes as we go. I can send them to you right after this video, so you can take some notes during right after while it's still fresh in your head. So today I want to talk about knowing your center's superpower. That is really going to be pillar number 1, the most important thing. One of the first things I start off all my new clients with is knowing what your vision for your company is. I've done podcast episodes on it. I've done these videos on vision, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. If anyone wants more information, I can tag you in them. I can post them. I actually will post them. I'm actually going to be organizing a session for this whole week in my Facebook group. You guys will see like an entire learning series. Facebook calls them guides now. And I will post the podcast episodes about vision in there for you guys. But your vision is so very important because it's really going to guide you on where you're going to go. It's going to tell you what are your values. My vision for not only my childcare centers, but my life is to ensure that all children, regardless of socioeconomic status, have the opportunity to attend high quality research-based childcare centers, right? Which is why I do this. That's my goal, my vision for my life, my vision for my centers is to make sure every child. So why do I bring you free content? Why do I do these free classes? Why do I have a free podcast? Why do I teach all that I teach? It's because that is my vision. That's what I've created in my childcare center, right? That is our driving force. Those high quality research-based standards for all children. And that is my center's queen bee role. The queen at my center is high quality research-based. We are qualified for 5 stars through our Nevada QRIS system, our quality rating system, our STARS program. And we're currently going through NICE accreditation, which is turning out to be pretty easy considering accreditation should be pretty tough, but our center's ready. So if you're at that point, it's pretty much not too hard once you get your center to that certain point. So quality is our queen bee, right? What is yours? What sets you apart? What makes you different? I have a client who is a nature-based center. That is her queen bee. She wants everything to be natural. She really wants to bring that nature and natural world to the children and really teach them. So she has outdoor classrooms. She has such a unique program because she so focuses on nature and the outdoors all year round. And she's in Minnesota. So that is her queen bee role, right? I have faith-based centers that their queen bee is to teach the love of Jesus and to serve Jesus. And that is their queen bee role. So know what is your queen bee. And ours is making sure all children, and for those of you who don't know, my background is in psychology. So we do care for special needs children. We care for children in the foster system, children who are in poverty, and that is it. I want to bring quality to all of them. That is my priority. And I do turn a profit doing that. I know a lot of people think, oh, well, how do you make money? Well, you can. You can. There's ways. You just got to know what you're doing. So know what your queen bee role is. What sets you apart? What makes you different, right? And you really want to teach and sell that, okay? So your staff, it is so very important that your staff knows that superpower that you have. They have to know that queen bee role, which, by the way, is a term that comes from Mike Michalowicz of Profit First. When I read his book, Profit First, he talks about the queen bee role, and that's where I just like, yes, that's what we need to focus on. We need to focus on this. So what is your superpower? You need to know it in your heart and in your mind. You need to write it out, come up with that vision, know what you want, right? And then you need to teach it. You need to make it contagious. You need to make sure that your staff knows it really, really well, and that it's so contagious that they have a passion. And I'll give you guys a little secret. I teach another program. One of the classes that I teach is on retaining staff. That is the key. That is absolutely the key, is giving them more to work for than just a paycheck. You've got to, you make that contagious mission in life. You find people who really align with it and they stick with you through the thick, the thin, whatever. Their work becomes more than just a job. It becomes a passion. So know yours. You've got to know it's so crystal clear. So it takes some work. And in the workbook, I'll guide you guys through a little bit more of how you figure that out. So let me know again if you don't have your workbook yet. You can comment in the comments or send me a message, whatever you prefer. The other thing is, know what gaps you fill in your community. We all fill a gap in our community that you may not be aware of, right? Look around in your community. I think we all assume that we are very all the same, right? We all care for children from this age to this age. But what gaps do you feel? What is it that makes you different where you can really help where nobody else can, right? So, for example, if you are a nature-based center, you're going to fill that gap that there's not a whole bunch of nature-based centers in this area. And there might be parents who are very, very passionate about the environment, right? So that is the gap you're filling. You're filling the gap of really talking to those parents who are very passionate about the environment. If you're a faith-based center, I see Tammy's on there, my client who does run a faith-based center, then bringing the love of Christ and that education to the children and really helping them to get that foundation in Christ that they can live with for the rest of their life. That's your superpower, right? That is going to be one of your big areas that you fill the gap, right? So if you're public or a privately owned childcare center that, like mine, you're not filling that gap, right? So it might be very important to some parents that their children are getting that really strong foundational piece. So know, how are you different? What gap are you filling in your community? What are you doing in your community that is different from anybody else, right? Fill that gap. And it might be like, for me, I am licensed from birth. That is a very hard license to get, but I can take babies as young as 3 days old, which is not something I like to do, but sometimes when you take care of foster babies, it is necessary. So that is a definite gap. The fact that I take care of foster children, that's a gap that we fill, right? The fact that I can help with challenging behaviors, that's another gap. So what makes you different? One of my clients has a passion for helping children with behavior issues. So when they get kicked out of one center, they always end up at her center because she knows what she's doing. And she understands that behavior issues start with the adults. It's not the child, never the child. It would be the first to tell you that it is not the child. In my community here, the public schools actually refer children with behavior issues to me. So into my center. So that's another gap we fill, right? So if that is your superpower, that you have a passion to believe that no children should be expelled and no children should ever be kicked out of a program for behavior because you understand how children's development work and you understand how their brains work, and you know that the adult is in control and the adult can guide the child to better behavior, if you're that person, then that's the gap you fill, right? So when you know your gap, you can start marketing to that and you can really make sure that your community knows that gap. So the other thing is you really need to know your target market. What is your target market? I think, oh, hi, Stephanie. And Stephanie, I was actually just kind of talking a little bit about yours. I have a client similar to you, but how you're great with children with behavior issues and how that is how you fill the gap. Stephanie just joined us and she's one who fills the gap beautifully in her community because she knows how to handle behavior issues. And that isn't something a lot of centers know how to do. So that is a gap that she fills, and that's also a superpower. Sometimes where you fill your gap, that's also going to be your center's superpower. That's what makes you stand out and what makes you special. Okay, so next, again, we're talking about know your target market, and you're going to want to set up all of your advertising. All of your communication needs to be directed to them. So when I say know your target market, I think most of us think in terms of demographics. We look at where does this person live? How old are they, right? What but I really want you to really dive deeper into that. I don't want you just to think of what is their average age, what is their average income, all those demographic things. If you've created a business plan, those are the demographics that go into your business plan, right? That's not what I want you to think about. I want you to really dive deep. And in the workbook, I do ask you guys some questions that will help you to really dive deep. So what I want to know is, where do these people shop? Do they go to Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, or do they shop at Walmart? What kind of cars do they drive? Where are they going to buy their clothes? What are if they were going to buy a magazine or look up a magazine online, what kind of magazine are they going to read, right? What websites do they frequent? Where do they hang out? Are they a McDonald's coffee person or a Starbucks coffee person? I want you to really know your target market. And let me tell you guys, there is no right or wrong. Okay, it doesn't matter. I don't want you to think like, oh, maybe I should be targeting. No, you need to know based on your vision, your superpower, who is your target market. Okay, if you are marketing to people who are like all whole foods and whatnot, but you don't really believe in environmental issues, then you might be marketing to the wrong person, right? If they drive electric cars and they have a passion for helping the environment, but you don't care about something like that, then you're probably marketing to the wrong person. If, on the other hand, you are my client that has a nature-based center and you're marketing to people, who just really don't care, you're marketing to the wrong people. You need to know your client base. I mean, intimately. I want to know what kind of car they drive, okay? I want to know where they're purchasing their clothing, right? And when you're creating your messaging and when you're trying to enroll children, those are the people you're talking to. So I can tell you, I know creating messaging for marketing can be really, really difficult. But if you think of it in terms of who is your audience, if that person is standing right next to you, your ideal client. So I literally want you guys to create a family, right? And I want you to envision and write it down. What neighborhood does this family live in? What kind of car do they drive? Where are they going grocery shopping? This weekend, what are they going to do for fun? Are they going to go hiking? Or maybe they're going to go to the movies, right? What are they going to choose for fun this weekend? I want you to know these people. And then you're going to create your marketing to them. And your marketing is going to be something just like you're having a conversation. That's it. Just let's sit down and chat. Hey, your child would be great for my center. And this is why. So you're talking to that person. If you don't know who you're talking to, then it's very difficult for you to message to them. So when you know your superpower, you know what gap you're filling, now you're going to know, okay, so now who is the person who's going to really respond to my superpower and the gap I'm filling? And now my messaging is going to talk to them, just like I'm having a conversation with them, right? That's also going to help you to know where are you going to market. I see so many questions on Facebook all the time about where do you guys market? How do you find families? Well, it depends. If your family is somebody that you're marketing to who isn't on Facebook, but they're on LinkedIn, then a Facebook ad isn't going to help you, right? Then going into Facebook groups and just market, most of our communities have those free Facebook groups that are fantastic to market in, by the way, you guys. But if you're talking to business people, if you're in a very high business area, then you're talking to people who are in that demographic. They may probably drive BMWs, an Audi or whatever. They go to the office every day. They're reading the Wall Street Journal, things like that. And they're probably not spending so much time on Facebook, right? They're probably in LinkedIn. So you want to market in LinkedIn. And it is possible. I'll tell you, it is possible. So that's where you really want to know, where are you marketing, right? Certain demographics are even going to be more Instagram based than they are going to be Facebook based. But as you get to know these people and as you really think about them, you're going to know where to market. Local supermarkets are a great place to put flyers, to do different type of marketing events, right? Leaving your business card places that they frequent. Talking to employees of the places that they frequent, just giving them, because everybody hears a lot. The barista at Starbucks hears a lot. And if you're in there and you always have a smile on your face and you're really nice, oh, by the way, I own the childcare center. They have a friend or they hear a client that, oh, I met this lady. She owns a childcare center. It's fantastic. She's so nice. Her center must be fantastic. Here's her card. Different things like that, right? So knowing your market is so very important. You need to know, who are you talking to? I had a client that first started with me that didn't know her market, and she didn't, I'm sorry guys, of all people, it was my husband. I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and it was my husband who knows I'm doing this right now. So I had a client that kept telling me, I'm getting the wrong kind of people. I know who I want in my program, but I have the wrong people signing up. And so we really looked at it and found out, well, she's marketing to the people that are coming. she's just not marketing to the right people. So we just changed her marketing strategy. We changed her language. We changed where she was marketing to, and we started getting the type of people she wanted into her door. So that's something to really, really think about. Who are you talking to? Who are you marketing to? Very important piece of the puzzle. So that's basically, it's also going to be the gap that you're filling, right? That's going to be a big piece. You need to know, so those people that you're talking to, what gap are you filling for them? How are you different? How are you filling their gap? And if you're not, you need to figure out a way to do that, right? You really need to figure out a way to just get that. Let's see. Oh, hi, Elizabeth. Just finished serving lunch. I know for me, it's still bright. It's only 9:30 in the morning here. It's still, our morning snack time, but you guys are on the East Coast. So good morning, or afternoon for you, morning to me. So knowing that gap that you're filling. And of course, you guys, that's just a reminder, this will be available later for playback. So if you don't get to this live, that's okay. You will be able to play back this session later. I will tag you in it if you need me to. Just let me know, send me a message, whatever, we can tag you. I'm going to be setting up a guide in the group, and each day we'll have a different section of the guide so that you guys can replay and get all of the different things that you need. So let me look at my notes really quick to see where I was. Going back to what sets you apart, right? I want to talk a little bit about the little things. Oftentimes we forget as early childhood educators that even the little things are pretty good. And what I want you to think about is how parents don't know what we have to go through, right? We are so engrossed in our industry that we come to the conclusion that the things we do are just common knowledge, that everybody just knows it, right? We think it's common sense, but it's not. One of the things I teach my clients, and I teach, and I'll tell you, my director Brady had such a hard time with this. It's one of the things that she hated that I said all the time. Is forget common sense. There's no such thing. What's common sense to you may not be common sense to me. Common sense is also a cultural thing. And here in the United States, and I actually have, my client base is actually worldwide, so I really have to keep this in mind very often, that cultural norms are what we think of as common sense, and they're not common sense. So whenever you get frustrated with, isn't that just common sense? That's where I say, there's no such thing as common sense. So I want you to just clear your mind of anything you think that everybody knows. Like for us in this industry, it should be a no-brainer that we all get fingerprinted, right? Brandy says, I still hate it. Yes, I know, but how often has it come? How often have we had the conversation and it's true? There is no such thing as common sense. We just got to forget it. And let me tell you guys, when you let go of the notion of common sense, it is actually pretty liberating. And it really does help you not to get so frustrated anymore. So yes, you have to explain the littlest things. So to us, it seems like it should be just common sense that people in early childhood education are background checked, right? And that we're all CPR certified. Those two things, to me, seem that they should be absolutely universal, absolute no-brainers. Everybody should just know that that's just how it is if you're licensed in the United States, right? And actually for my international customers, all the customers I have outside of the United States, it's the same thing. They're all fingerprint, they all have some kind of background check done, and they all have CPR certification. Parents don't know that though. They don't know that. They're not in our industry, right? They don't know what we have to go through. So when you come up with the things that make you stand out, mention that. I know that they aren't unique to you. I get they're not a superpower. I get they're not unique, but they are things you want to do when you are bragging about yourself, right? And later this week, I will talk to you guys about bragging. I know in our culture, it's almost taboo to brag, but when you're in business, you want to brag. That's okay. It's okay to show off how wonderful your centers are. That is totally okay. But don't forget those little things. The little things are important. Certain states, you have to have so many college credits, you have to have so many degrees in order to, be like a director or whatever. Parents don't know that, you guys. So use that. Use all of it. Make sure they know everything. Educate them when you're marketing on all of those things that you've had to do, all the hoops you have to go through. You know it's industry standard, but the parents don't. So the fact that you're bragging about it is going to make you look different. It is going to make you seem unique, right? So make sure that you don't be shy about bragging about those things. It does make you unique, and it does help you because it's not common sense and nobody else is talking about it, right? So put it on your websites. Make sure everybody knows that all of your staff is CPR certified. Everybody goes through a fingerprinting process. You know, all those things that you have so many college credit. There's ongoing education every year. If your competition isn't talking about that, then parents are going to assume that you're the only one doing it. So just remember that there's no such thing as common sense. So everything you assume is common sense and the parents just know, they don't. So use it in your advertising. It really helps in your marketing. So whether it's in your tour packet or your marketing or on your website, make sure you have it everywhere. Brag about it. Know what is your staff's combined experience. And there's a lot of this is in the workbook, you guys. So I guide you through this in the workbook to help you learn really that difference and helping you guys just think of the things that set you apart, helping to think of those bragging points, as I like to say. So, you know, what else, and then there are those added things, right? What do you guys have, like added security, cameras in the classroom, maybe purified water, an air purifying system? What kind of ongoing training? Like my staff, I am a trainer for the state of Nevada. That's something that I do. You know, hey, we have a trainer on staff. Just different things like that. What are those extra things that you do too? Make sure those are going in your arsenal, whether you're going to put, and we'll talk more about the tour packet and the website, but make sure those are all things you want to know about you guys that really make you stand out, right? And some of it, again, doesn't make you stand out, but nobody else is bragging about it. So if you do, it's going to make you stand out. So the licensing hoops also that you have to go through, let them know. I've been secured, you know, our building has been inspected by the fire marshal. Are all childcare centers inspected by fire? Yeah, they are. But parents don't know that. If you've never owned a business in your life, if you've never managed a business in your life, you don't know what a building has to go through in order to get approved to have a business license, right? So think of those things that those parents, they don't know, right? We think it's common sense because we've been doing them for so many years. I know for me, I've been an owner for so many years now. Even I had an in-home childcare. So I've been going through these hoops for so many years at this point that I just assume, well, doesn't everybody know I have to go through that? But they don't. They don't. So make sure you brag about it. It's definitely worth bragging about. So let me see. Make sure I go through my notes really quick to make sure I got everything for you guys today. That's pretty much what I have for day one for you guys, is just really knowing what is your center's superpower and how do you brag about yourself. And don't be afraid to brag about yourself. When it comes to your center and when it comes to enrollment, that is the time that you're going to brag. It's okay to let people know how amazing and wonderful your centers are, right? And you too, as the leader of your center, whether you're the owner or the director, what have you accomplished? It's okay to let them know what makes you different. Why are you different? What is it that your center does that you bring to your center, right? That you, as the owner, as the director, as your teachers, what do you guys bring that makes you so unique and amazing, right? I have the most amazing staff, and my management staff is just wonderful. So I have so much to brag about between my management staff and the program that we've put together that it's something I'm constantly bragging about. Excuse me, I'm sorry guys. But those are the kind of things that you want people to know, is like, how reliable are you guys? How wonderful is your staff? What hoops have they gone through? What are the kind of things that they've done, right? The passion. For my staff, it's just their absolute passion and commitment to our center and the honest to God, pure love they have for the children, right? Just that dedication to quality, because they truly love the kids. Their passion for those children is just so pure, and they love those children so much that makes them so very different. It's not just a job. And so it's okay to brag when it comes down to this. You've worked hard and you've accomplished a lot. So brag about yourself and brag about your staff. This is the time. So I hope everybody found this helpful today. Again, this will be up so you can watch for replay. These videos will be coming down next Tuesday. So you have about a week to watch them and catch up. Please feel free to message me again if you have any questions, if you need any extra guidance on this session, or if you need the workbook. And remember, take the time, you guys. You owe it to yourself to take the hour a day. And if an hour a day can change the course of your center, it's worth it. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody. I will see you back here tomorrow at the same time.